This is Josiah Plays Pillars of Eternity. So we're inside the fishery in Stalwart Village, and we're gonna see what people have to say in here. We've heard that before. Fishing's ideal for quiet types. You should try it. Think we could borrow your sharp-toothed friend for a fishing trip? Durgan's Battery is an ill-fated place. Only stone bramble grows in its shadow. Glad we've still got Lurgolder watching our backs. Thanks, Katie. I don't know who Lurgolder is. Tattered net appears to have been set aside for mending. Alright, let's talk to this fellow Grind. Don't know who he is, but we're about to find out.
A fine thing you reached us when you did. They would have burned the fishery next, mark my words.
Wraps your hand in a sturdy handshake.
And the last thing this lot needs is another excuse to knock off early.
He raises his voice at this last remark and glowers around the room. The other fisher folk look studiously away and focus on mending nets, gutting fish, and sorting the day's catch.
Anyway, excuse the mess. If there's something you need, the clerk can get you sorted.
He raises a graying eyebrow at a man sorting various stocks and supplies near the back of the room.
Just watch your step if you have a mind to look around. The floors are slick and none too pleasant to fall on.
I've got questions about the fishery.
Been running it 4 decades now. I reckon I can tell you what you want to know.
He grunts. Seems like a big operation.
It may stink of fish guts, but there's no place more critical to Stalwart's survival.
He nods, a blush of pride rising above his beard.
Herds come and go, so there's seasons when our catch sustains the village.
Glances around the fishery, bustling with activity and warm with the heat of the cook fire.
But try telling these folk as much. We go home each day covered to the elbows in fish oil and entrails, reeking of our work.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be unpleasant. His eyes soften with the gaze of a stern but loving father.
Stalwart's shrinking, but it would disappear if we lost the fishers. I drive him hard, but I can't afford to do otherwise.
What do you do here?
Just about everything. I track the day's catches and see that our nets and hooks are in working order.
Crosses his arms over his broad chest, throwing his shoulders back.
My family's been in charge of the fishery since the early days of Stalwart. I know the best spots to find frost diver and iron-toothed pike, and I make sure we don't overfish the speckleback.
Yeah, it's always important not to overfish the speckleback. I think that's a rookie mistake a lot of fisheries make. That's all I wanted to know.
Need anything else?
Farewell. Alright, let's talk to...
Margaret's fire casts light in dark places.
Is it true they set fire to Defiance Bay? Deerwood has gone mad. The dead eyes of speckleback, iron-toothed pike, and frost diver fish gaze up at you. These roasting fish provide much of the pungent odor permeating the fishery. What's up, clerk? I wasn't expecting anyone to come by the fishery for a while. Guess that's the proper way to go about it, really. Carry on like it's business as usual. Can I get you anything? Let me see what you have. Of course. He has an... Oh... Summons worms, an ivory worm figurine. This small, finely crafted figure of a worm was carved from bone. Though the shape of it is crude, it is covered in ornate details, such as the scales upon its head and back, and the sharp teeth within its maw. I want that. He has some fish, some oil, a ring of overseeing. I already have a couple of these rings in my party. That's only 6,000. I'm gonna get that. And it's a strange thing for them to have at the fishery. Who's gonna use it? She's got 2 summons already. He's got 2 summons. Maybe we'll give the Animat horn to Durance. Okay, so that's pretty much gonna do it for the fishery, I think. Nothing of interest in here. Let's go to fast mode. Alright, let's get out of here. More loading screen action. Exciting. Yes. Loading screen. We got some hot springs on the loading screen. Got a tree. More than one tree, in fact. An outhouse. It's good that there's an outhouse included on the loading screen. There's a barrel and a crate and a house, or more than one. Okay.
And what does the flame reveal?
So I think our next stop on the exploration of Stalwart Village is the Temple of Ondra, which is right over here. We spoke with Akrun, we spoke with Ista. I think we got some quests from them. This right here is the Temple of Ondra. There's the wave symbol of Ondra right there. There's a little bit of a graveyard in the back. So let's go in here. Same loading screen. Oh, look at this. Temple has a tree in it. A couple of them. Ondra's swordsman. Ondra's shieldsman. Lavda, that's like the main priest or whatever. Task added, the Fisherman's Penance. What's that all about? I met Grinda, the head fisherman of Stalwart. He's a gruff fellow, but he seems to take a lot of pride in his role, and yet there's no actual task here. Which is odd. Very odd. Brennan Guild, the mayor of Stalwart, told you about Durgan's Battery, an ancient Dwarven fortress, and the town's attempts to reach a powerful forge within it. Alright, so let's
Keeping an eye out.
talk to these folks. Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot. These are talkative. Very talkative. Fine. We're not going to steal your pearls. Carvings dedicated to Ondra adorn every inch of this large wooden chest. Its lid appears firmly secured, even with no latch or locking mechanism in sight. I will inspect the chest. Because of my perception of 15, or higher than 15, the chest seems old, its wood cracked and bleached by the passage of time, but the edges of the lid are less faded. It appears to have been handled recently and often. Before you can take a closer look, an acolyte snaps around to face you. Don't touch that! His voice cracks like a whip. The other acolytes look at him as if to urge some composure. He frowns. I mean to say, that's sacred to Ondra. Please, leave it alone. Alright, fine.
Be cautious. Be constant.
Ondra's Spellweaver. There's a guy named Quexetl. And this is their urn of money, which I'm not going to steal. None of their people seem to have anything to say. There's something vaguely menacing about this group of religious people. Let's speak with Quexetl. A young man dressed in sturdy leathers glares at you. The creases in his face, tanned despite the scarce sunlight of the region, suffer a slight twitch as you approach him. I've got nothing for you. Speak with Lavda if you must. He turns away, his nose wrinkled. So another friendly sword. Alright, well, let's talk to Lavda. Just throw a quick save, and just in case. I don't trust these people.
Huh?
Actually.
What? Yes?
I'm ready.
Hey.
I'm ready.
Hey.
I'm ready.
Hey.
I don't trust these people. And it's not going to go down like it did last time. Veins course under this woman's pale skin like icy fissures, yet, when she speaks, her voice flows warm and soothing. Andra welcomes you into her embrace. Her features soften into a look of practiced compassion. We are here to ease the pain of your past, ready to take your burdens. With a thin smile, she nods. If you let the goddess help with your hardships, of course. Tell me about Andra. Andra's the goddess of redemption, deep like an ocean, and gentle as a mother. She's here to relieve her children of their darkest burdens. We came here to aid the villagers, to heal the wounds of the past that fester in their souls. I don't think these people are on the up and up, actually. I think there's something going on here. Something shady. I thought Andra was the goddess of loss and mourning, not redemption. That's, The priestess crosses her arms and shifts her weight. Common notion. Others may believe so, but the goddess's mysteries are profound. Her true power lies in redeeming your loss and regret. Was there something else you wanted to talk about? I want to know about the gift bearers. Gift bearers do Andra's most valued work. They carry the material burdens of unfortunate souls into her embrace so that the goddess may help them forget. I heard that worshippers of Bereth visited you recently. Little happens around here that doesn't end in the mouths of villagers. But we're obliged to assist everyone, regardless of their faith. A group of women came to us, yes. Their leader wanted to know of Durgan's battery. I obliged and pointed them in its direction. They left as quietly as they arrived, which didn't make us any less concerned about their true intentions. This place has grown dangerous enough already. I want to ask you about Okrun's heirloom. The dwarf already asked. We gave him the counsel he needed. Slight irritation sharpens her tone. She seems to catch herself, modulating her voice back to a pleasant timbre. And, naturally, we'll do what we can for you, too. Ask what you will. Okrun wants his medallion back. She brings her hands together and nods. Ah, Okrun, how often we let the shadows of the past become a burden, even to others. That medallion, it weighs on Okrun's mind. You're kind to help, but what he really needs is to cast away those memories. Isn't that for him to decide? He did. He understood the solace that the goddess can give to those like him. It was explained to him that many have second thoughts, but one does not withdraw something offered to a goddess. In time, the memories fade, and they come to see the wisdom of their original pledge. His belongings, his past, now rest in Andra's realm, to be forgotten so that the wounds of the soul may heal. This is the will of the goddess. I love how there's a chat response if you pick philosopher as your background. I'd love to see what that one is, but... The will of mortals or gods has never stopped me before. Lavda's expression breaks and she takes a step back. Her cohorts reach for their weapons. She immediately raises her hand. No! We have nothing to fear. The ripples in her voice quickly calm. There's no need to quarrel over the mysteries of a goddess's will. I'll tell you what you wish to know. Okrun's heirloom was taken by Ixtli, chosen gift-bearer among us, to be cast away as an offering to Ondra. Only he knows where. She pauses and looks at you intently. You could ask him yourself, but he's on a trek through the mountains of Durgan's Battery. If you run into Ixtli, tell him he has urgent duties to attend here. Tell me about your gift-bearer. Ixtli had business near Durgan's Battery. Those mountains are dangerous. Perception of 16 reveals to me that Lavda seems to stare at the floor for a moment, but you notice her eyes dart to one of the acolytes, a young man of Ixamital blood. If you insist upon carrying out this request of Okrun's, then that's where I'd search for answers. It's hard to believe that only the gift-bearer knows where Ondra's offerings are cast away. Is it? Our goddess frees us from earthly burdens. It's best if only one of us knows where they are taken, lest we all end up suffering under their weight. Let me ask you about something else. Farewell. Regrets worth trading. Lavda claimed that only Ixtli, a gift-bearer, knows the location of Okrun's medallion. Unfortunately, he's still on a journey near Durgan's Battery. Alright, let's try talking to this guy again. He seems like he's of Ixamital blood. Shamadal. Leave me be. Okay. We'll leave him be then. I think we're done in here for now.
Right.
These people were less friendly than I was.
Steady
I still
does
think
it.
there's something shady going on here. Like, these aren't real followers of Ondra, maybe. That maybe they're pretenders. Maybe they've got some kind of other creepy stuff going on. I don't know. There's something off about this place and these people. Something off, I say. So, heading back out into the town, let's talk to Okrun again for a second. As you step outside, the heavy wooden door of the temple slams shut behind you. You hear someone barring it from the other side. It sounds like the priests have engaged in an agitated conversation. You get the sense that they are discussing you, but you're also certain that the door is too thick to eavesdrop through. Although there may be other places nearby where you'd stand a better chance. Oh, really? I overheard a commotion inside the Temple of Ondra after I spoke with Lavda. Perhaps there's something else to be learned from the conversation between the priestess and her acolytes. Can't believe this. How could you? Let's try some eavesdropping. The wooden shutters of the temple's window, closed tight, muffle a set of voices coming from within the building. You can't quite make sense of the murmur, but cracking a shutter open would likely help. A rusty iron latch holds the window shutters closed. With care, you should be able to unfasten it without being noticed. This seems like something that Katie could handle easily. Both being very good at stealth, very good at mechanics, and having a very high dexterity. You carefully begin to lift the latch from its metal hook. Halfway there, the rusted iron resists with a screech. You freeze, listening to the voices in hopes the priests didn't hear. Their conversation continues uninterrupted. I will pour some oil on the latch. You grab the latch and apply just the right amount of oil, nudging the metal until its rust gives way without a sound. Carefully, you pull the window shutters open enough to let the voices flow through. You hear a man speaking, his tone agitated. You'll do that? Hope the mountains will do it? What if His sentence cuts, as if the man were speaking to all sides of the room. Suppose she sells them instead. What then? You recognize Lavda's voice responding. Why would she? And with all those dangers near the battery, our gift-bearer won't delay. I expect... The man interrupts her. You always expect! Look what that's taken us! Look where that's taken us! A dying village, ogres at the walls, Ixtli's not back yet, and now I have to do his His voice drops and seethes, muffling what he has to say. After a moment, Lavda replies, Do you think I wanted this? That I could have known in advance? A pause ensues, its tension growing, until the priestess's voice cuts it in half. We can't wait for him. We must fish out the last batch quickly. After that, we'll decide. The man responds in a broken voice, barely audible. You only distinguish the last words. In that russetwort pond! I'll go. Their exchange seems to end. Cautiously, you step away from the window of Andra's temple. Oh, really? And there goes the guy. The Ishamadal guy that we talked to. I listened to a private conversation between Lavda and her acolytes. Apparently they worry for the safety of their gift-bearer, Ixtli, during his journey near Durgan's battery. The priest also spoke of something important to them that's hidden in the russet wood. So find the gift-bearer or search the waters of the russet wood. Very
Let's
interesting.
see what lies this way.
Yeah, let's see what lies this way.
Ha, that's what I get for asking directions in the middle of nowhere.
Who's this? Maneha. Alright, well let's talk to... Actually, hold on. Maneha can wait a second. The door appears to be barred from the inside. It does not budge. Let's talk to Okhrin again for a second and see what he has to say now. I'm hoping you've got good news! And yet, I don't have anything new to tell him. Okay. What's up, villager? Alright, same thing. Alright, Maneha. Looks pretty tough. Let's chat her up.
Say, I don't suppose you've seen any mysterious old buildings in the mountains lately, have you?
The Amawa wears an assortment of bangles, bands, cuffs, and chains as thick as armor. She watches you with a raised eyebrow and eyes gleaming with mirth. You mean Durgan's battery?
No, but I've heard that name a lot around here. I'm looking for the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. It's an obscure temple dedicated to Andra.
Why are you looking for the Abbey?
I'm a gift bearer. My job is to gather tokens of things people want forgotten and surrender them to the Lady of Lament.
Yet another gift bearer, eh?
Best place to do that is the Abbey of the Fallen Moon.
I do not have lore 8. What kinds of tokens do you take?
Anything that represents a moment or a memory someone wishes to leave behind. Well, love notes, awkward family heirlooms, bad poetry, the kinds of things you want to forget.
She's like the Pillars of Eternity equivalent of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Except probably not as effective. I see.
I might be here a while. Half the villagers have never heard of the Abbey, and the ones that have, no one knows where it is. So I'm trying to think of this as an extended holiday, in a remote mining village that smells like fish.
I've got business in the region. We could travel together.
You won't regret it. I've got a lovely singing voice.
So this is another companion.
And the company's welcome.
She winks at Palagina. Oh, really? Bachka Bow Wow. We got a little bit of inter-party romance brewing up here, huh? Between Maneha and Palagina? Alright, our roster's getting deep. She's a barbarian. Ah, she'd be cool to have in the party. Well, once again, we'll kick Durance to the
You
curb
walk
for a
your
second.
path, I'll walk mine.
We'll bring her in. New quest, The Burden of Memory. Maneha, a gift-bearer of Andra, seeks a hidden abbey where Andrites leave things to be forgotten. Journey to the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. I've met a gift-bearer named Maneha. She's looking for the Abbey of the Fallen Moon, a secret Andrite temple where Maneha has been ordered to dispose of several tokens. She's joined me in the hopes that we'll visit this place during our travels. She has a boatload of health and endurance too, jeez. Axe and sword. She's very interesting looking. Got some stuff going on in her hair here. Maneha has armor. Pretty cool looking. Let's see. It's DR7. Move speed. Healing received. Maneha's armor reflects her extensive travels and experiences on the roads and waves of Yora. It incorporates brass baubles, the teeth of ferocious creatures, and myriad small bits of fashion Maneha took a fancy to on her adventures. I might kind of want to steal that. It's not as good a damage reduction, though. Move speed is nice, though. I'll give it back to her. Okay, so... Anxious Cape. Let's
I'm here.
Look at her business here. She's very mighty and constitution-y, not much else. Lots of athletics and survival like you'd expect. Heart of Fury. That was that move that Seamok was using against us that was totally kicking our ass. But hers obviously doesn't do nearly as much damage. Yeah, she might be fun to use, but I'm not going to take her. I'm just going to talk to her and then kick her out like I did with the monk.
Uh-huh.
She's into the ladies. I thought maybe Kana and her might, you know, get a little something going being a Maua, but I think she's got her eye on Pallegina. What you got for me? How did you end up in Stalwart? The other gift bearers told me Stalwart was close to the Abbey, so they suggested I ask for directions in town. You mean the other gift bearers didn't know where the Abbey is? Like I said, it's one of Andra's most ancient temples, and her followers aren't really known for their records keeping. You're not exactly dressed for the weather. Well, Examiner's flat as a platter, so when the gift bearers told me Stalwart was way up in the mountains, I thought they were exaggerating. She shrugs. Anyway, I hate packing. I see. Always happy to chat. Why did you become a gift bearer? I guess I like wandering and meeting new folks. I've never been good at staying in one place for long. She shrugs. I have questions about the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. Me too. She glances at her boots. Why are you looking for the Abbey?
I'm a gift bearer. My job is to gather tokens of things people want forgotten and surrender them to the Lady of Lament. Best place to do that is the Abbey of the Fallen Moon.
Me too. She glances at her boots. What kinds of tokens do you take?
Anything that represents a moment or a memory someone wishes to leave behind.
We already had this conversation with her.
Well, love notes, awkward family heirlooms, bad poetry, the kinds of things you want to forget.
Gift bearers usually dispose of tokens in the sea. Why are you going to the Abbey?
Well, you throw some things into the sea, and maybe they wash up on shore one day. But you want something really good and forgotten, you take it to the Abbey.
She nods. So, what are you taking to the Abbey now?
The Abbey's all about forgetting. Wouldn't be much forgetting if I told you about it, would there?
Gives you a sly grin. Her smile falters briefly. Yeah, there's something she's not telling us here. I think she's trying to get rid of one of her own memories that she doesn't want to deal with.
The Abbey's all about...
Oops, no, hold on.
Tell me about yourself.
Where to begin? I spent almost 10 years as a mercenary in Old Vailia. Plenty of work there. She tilts her head up and starts counting items off on her fingers. After that, I fought with pirates in the Deadfire, or for them, depending on who was paying. Did a short stint in the White That Wends, that's where I'm from. Then roamed around the Living Lands, and finally joined the Gift Bearers in Examinal. And here I am, she grins.
Why so much travel?
I could ask you the same. 'Cause I'm a drifter. Guess staying at one place never much suited me.
And you gave up soldiering, piracy, and adventuring to join Andra's gift bearers?
She laughs. Still plenty of adventures, just different circumstances.
Actually, I was asking about where you came from before your adventures.
Not much to tell. She waves a hand and looks away quickly. She's hiding something. Grew up in Rawatai. Left when I was still pretty young and haven't been back since.
Why not?
Oh, you know. Spent almost 20 years there. Change of scenery is good, right? She gives you a breezy smile, but it looks forced. Yeah, something went down. Something bad in her past she doesn't want to deal with or talk about.
I see.
Better to look forward than back. That's what I always say.
I have questions about some of the lands you visited.
I'm always up for war stories.
What was Old Vailia like?
Grand. A skirmish every day and a feast at another Compte or Marqueso's Keep every night. Those were good, carefree days.
Tell me about the Deadfire Archipelago.
Dangerous. You got pirates and sea monsters, and don't even get me started on the merchants. I had a good run there, but I got tired of trying to keep track of who had a knife pointed at my back.
I'm curious about the Living Lands.
She laughs. Most folk are. Even after 10 years there, feels like I just saw the edges of the place. You can start the day in a desert and find yourself in the middle of the jungle by nightfall. Everything there is just a little wilder. Goes for the folk as well as the creatures. Part of me misses it still, but you wake up every day knowing it might be your last. I stayed lucky longer than anyone has a right to expect.
What were your experiences in the White That Wends?
No. Short. That place is too cold for anything but leaving. No shit, right?
That's all I wanted to know.
That's all for now. Alright, so we've talked to Maneha. She's pretty interesting. Traveling barbarian. Something to hide. Got her past. We have her quest now. Where's the quest for... We don't have a quest for the monk? I thought we did. Maybe not. She'd probably get along with Sagani. They probably have things in common.
Slowly now.
Alright, let's go. Back to the Gref's Rest. To the Grave's Rest. Grave's Rest. I guess the F is pronounced like V. And that E is pronounced like an A. Grave's Rest.
So, you're back. What can...
Nothing, we already talked to you. I can hear the bard singing in there. So then what I'm going to do is... And now the bard is quiet all of a sudden. There's a villager. We're going to get
Back
rid
to
of...
warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you?
We're going to get rid of Maneha, and we're going to bring Durance back to the team.
What?
Sure.
Now, they when I spoke with Renengild, she said, go talk to the people in the inn about this, so there might be new information in here.
Hey.
Sure.
Now, we can't get rid of this guy because he is waiting for us to get rid of the slavers.
Is she there? Did you find Avala?
Shifts caught between hope and terror. Not yet. So we gotta get rid of the slavers so that that guy can leave. I heard the dwarves of Durgan's battery died feasting, poisoned one another. Papa says I'm not allowed to play with the other kids because we got in trouble. It was only a little trouble. Tell me more about this trouble, child. We set fire to Old Man Hod's wagon. Well, you know, sometimes these things happen when you're a kid.
You find anything? Hate to think of those slimy bastards carrying my haul into a freezing hole somewhere.
Okay, so she doesn't have any new... Clear she's still going on about that beast he's after. Should focus on ogres. I don't want to play Orland's head. Oh, there's Keedy. Place wouldn't be the same without Keedy. Good on you for saving her. We saved her from the fire, and now she's here. We could talk to her. Out of jam again! What a disaster! Yeah, out of jam, man. First world problems, I guess. Alright, Keedy, what's going on with you?
Oh, it's you. I'm so glad you came by. I hoped I'd have the chance to thank you properly. They told me what happened. God's bless you, ma'am. I owe you my life. I know it was foolish of me to run in there, but this ring is all that I have of my family.
I wasn't thinking. What's so special about this ring, anyway?
Sentiment, mostly. When he first settled here, my grandfather had a ring fashioned from the first batch of ori excavated. It was supposed to commemorate his fresh start. He passed it on to his daughter, and my mother gave it to me in turn.
So it's a family heirloom. How are you holding up?
Oh, I'm managing. Fenway's letting me stay with her until I'm back on my feet. Everyone's been lovely, really. It was hard seeing what's left of the house. But Rayvald says he's going to see a hut raised for me soon as they get the logs.
Well, isn't that nice? Farewell. So she's doing well, that's good. Didn't have the information for us, though, unfortunately.
Back to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you?
And apparently needed his half-rick. See what refreshments you've got.
Nothing like a pint to take the chill off.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody in here actually has any new things to say now that we've spoken with Renengild. I guess it was just to get the quests that were in here. The side missions, so to speak. Alright, well, I think there's only a couple more things here in the whole town that we haven't yet. There's a guy standing by a wagon, who I assume is a merchant of some stripe. And there's one more house. Rayvold. Who was Tealdor again? Oh yeah, he wants the thermal pearl, and he's the town guard guy that seems kind of useless. Okay.
Keeping quiet.
Let's come over here. This guy's really cold, and he really needs to use the outhouse. Not much to hunt nowadays. Look what happened to Thiersch. I don't know what happened to Thiersch. Why don't you tell me? Nice to see you. Okay.
Found something.
See? Finding hidden shit. That is why we wander around in scouting mode. 12 silver luches. Most common Valian coin. Named for its resemblance to the scales of a fish. Interesting in a fishing village like this. Coincidence? I think not. So this is Thiersch's house. Meat. Just straight up meat. The glistening flesh of some unfortunate creature. We'll go in that house, but only after we have... Oh, these are some sort of, like, ovens or something. These smelters haven't seen you. Oh, this must be where the mine is. Hence the mine tracks for the mine carts. A hammer and chisel. Take it. And this will lead me up to Longwatch Falls. Okay. So this is the last guy we need to talk to here. He's probably some kind of traveling merchant. Idurin. The Orlan bows to you.
Ah, the adventurer who saved the village. So good of you to visit my humble wagon. I am Idurin.
How's business? He gestures at the village around him.
Poor, like this place. Not much coin to be made trading in furs and fish. I came to the White March because I assumed there would be no competition. And I have none, because there's nothing to compete out here. Would you like to trade?
If you're not making any money out here, why do you stay?
His eyes lower.
I was rather vocal about my inevitable success with my friends and family. If I give up and return with little more than I left, then,
His hands ball into fists.
No! It won't be like that! I'm not giving up yet!
Show me what you have for sale.
Oh! He has all kinds of cool shit. Alright. He sells some gems, some berries and stuff, some other ingredients, bunch of potions, Storm of Fire Trap, Potion of Barring Death's Door. That's pretty cool. Chaotic Orb, Killing Bolt Trap. Any non-spirit felled by the attack will summon a specter under the caster's control. It kills somebody so hard they turn into a ghost. That's pretty serious. Chaotic Orb Trap. Fresh damage. Petrified.
Paralyzed, weakened, sickened, stunned, blinded. Holy crap. That's an awesome trap. I never actually used traps, but theoretically I might sometime. Hailstorm. Alright, Tundra Hoods. This fur-lined hood is a necessity for staving off frostbite while traveling the frigid environs of the White March. Well, if it's a necessity, maybe I should get one. Tundra clothing. The frigid environment of regions like the White March make these fur outfits a requirement for survival. The outfit is a combination of waterproof leather and fur, designed to retain heat while repelling moisture. There's a monk outfit. We got some gauntlets of accuracy here. +5 accuracy on gloves, that's nice. Gloves, gauntlets, and bracers offer a variety of benefits. While some grant protection in combat, many have magical properties that empower the wearer in other ways. Riona's buckle. 5 accuracy when below half endurance, 20 defense against disease and poison. This belt bears the mark of Riona, a legendary adventurer who traveled Aora in search of wealth and fame. When she was young, she trained at a martial academy in Ozia, where she struggled at first. Many of her fellow students came from wealthy local families, but she was poor and foreign. But she was clever, and she practiced much. One day, her chief rival, the nephew of one of the Duke's bells, challenged her to a duel. Riona could not refuse and save face, so she accepted. When they had assembled in the arena, he offered to give her one piece of his armor before the fight began. He meant it as an insult to her skill, but when Riona asked for his belt, he realized his mistake. He gave her his belt, with his sheathed rapier still attached to it, effectively disarming himself. Riona won the duel by default and kept the belt as a memento. Alright, well I don't see myself needing that belt very badly. I already have a couple of these +9 deflection rings. I have like 3 of them, I think. Rufek's Watchful Cloak Mark II. 2 perception, +2 enemies needed to flank. Huh. Rufek was a bruiser and a follower of Wall. He was often hired as a courier or bodyguard because of his size and strength. Yet he was a quiet man, and he developed a habit of walking with his head bowed in prayer. Because of this, would-be thieves frequently attempted to waylay him. But Rufek was blessed by the God of Secrets. With uncanny foresight, he dodged and parried these sudden attacks, and slew his assailants, sewing their eyes into his cloak. Holy shit! He intended it as a warning, but others saw it as a challenge. Eventually, he discarded this cloak and wore a simpler, subtler garment in its place. The sight of a dark cloak with shimmering, shifting eyes became infamous among highwaymen and bandits. That's gross. It's got a bunch of eyes sewn to it. Like actual eyes. Ultimate hat of alluring perfection. So it gives you a -to intellect and resolve, but a +2 to might and constitution. This hat was designed by an apprentice wizard who sought to create the perfect magical accessory. He spent weeks binding spells and wards to the material, but when he finished, he felt that it looked rather plain. He wanted to strike an imposing figure for peers and rivals, so he spent a few more days adding embellishments, a crest of feathers behind one ear, a band of silk around the brim. It was an improvement, but it also showed the young wizard how poorly he'd chosen his original color scheme, so he spent a few more days experimenting with other shades in suede, satin, and leather. While the poor young apprentice obsessed over his hat, his peers continued studying spells and hexes. By the time of his first duel, he had assembled a fantastic wardrobe, but forgotten many of his spells. His performance ended his budding career in magic most ignominiously, but he went on to become a successful tailor. The ultimate hat of alluring perfection. Yeah, I don't think we want that. Raiment of Wall's Eyes. This gives you mirrored image when hit by a critical hit. Defense against charmed and confused and dominated. That's pretty nice. This gray cloak is covered in a multitude of stylized eyes, symbols of the god Wall. It is said to have been created by the wizard Gorin. who hoped that the pious endeavor might invoke Wall's protection. Set against the many eyes of the 100 mysteries, Gorin hoped, his enemies would stumble after falsehoods, while he would remain resistant to the bewildering effects of the world's mysteries. Those who have come across the cloak since have found much use in its enchantments. What became of Gorin himself is unknown, however, for nothing else remains of the man or his works. That's a pretty cool light armor. And an exceptional hunting bow. Well, I guess we'll buy some tundra clothing and a tundra hood, just in case we need them for some reason. Gauntlets of accuracy seem pretty nice. Let's see. +2 dexterity on her gloves. Light endurance. Might and con. Crit multiplier bonus. Might. Spell damage multiplier. Well, they're better than these rabbit fur gloves. Tundra hood. What? That is a legit tundra hood. Tundra clothing. She looks like she is ready for cold times. Wow. Let's buy these gauntlets. I think I have plenty of ropes and I'll buy an extra pry bar. More than enough lockpicks. I'll take those two. And then this will go into the stash. I guess for now. Donna will wear these. But we may switch them to somebody else like Katie or Palagina, depending on what other sorts of gear gets found. Right. Alright, so we've spoken with Yudurin. So the only other thing to do in town then is to hit up Thirsch's house. Because we've been everywhere else. Spoken to everybody. So let's go in here. Actually, no, we will go in there in our next episode. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Pillars of Eternity.